up, Brews Travelers?
Brew's traveling.
Hell yeah, we're actually traveling this time.
We are. We took a little journey. So we're in the southern suburbs of Dayton, Ohio, and we're at Loose Ends Brewing Company in Centerville.
Yeah, Loose Ends. In case you didn't hear that, I heard a little background noise there for a second.
Yep, Loose Ends Brewing Company. We have been up here once before. I believe it was the day they first opened, or maybe the first weekday I think they opened.
Actually, this was the first place we practiced this podcast.
That is true.
That's why we came here, to like kind of hear ourselves on like what we sound like mic'd up, and it was a complete fucking mess.
It was. It was. And hopefully this will be
because
better.
You know what? I think all of our orders were wrong that night.
Were they? I'll tell you what.
Mine was.
My chicken wings were on fucking point.
They were fantastic.
I've been thinking about the wings ever since I ate them. All right, so let's talk about the location. It's on South Main Street in Centerville. This is a strip mall, essentially, right?
Yeah.
They're on the end of a strip mall. It really doesn't feel like it to me, like when you're in here.
No, it really doesn't.
It feels like it's a standalone spot. To me, this is like a medium to large brewery. I mean, there's a lot of fucking seats in here.
There are, and it's set up COVID right now, so I mean the potential for them to have a lot of people in here.
I bet you they could fit 80 people in here. We'll have to ask him. We'll have to ask John when he comes in here.
Yeah,
but it's not massive like a large brewery to me would be like Mad Tree or like Sierra Nevada.
Rhinegeist or something like that.
Rhinegeist is massive. It's kind of on the cusp of that.
Look at this.
Oh shit! Here comes the coffee beers. Hey, how many people can sit in here right now?
155.
155?
Yep.
Holy COVID shit. Or non-COVID?
Oh, thank you.
That's COVID. 155.
Occupancy without like any COVID restrictions is 268.
All right.
So 260 outside of COVID, 155 with COVID. So that's awesome, man.
All right.
And
we just got a treat dropped off to us.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one in a little bit. But so talk about the aesthetic. Like, what do you guys feel about this place when you walk in? Like, what's it feel like?
It's big. It's open, which can be good or bad. Here, it really works. There's just something about the aesthetics that it's just.
I would say my description would be industrial contemporary. You know what I mean? Because there's exposed ductwork, there's exposed beams on the ceiling. It's got concrete floors, super open floor plan. I mean, it looks like a ton of space set up for COVID. You know what I mean? Because of all the tables spread out.
Everyone's pretty spaced out here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The thing I like too is it sounds like it sounds like a pub when you're in here. There's people talking. You can hear everybody conversating, you know what I mean? It's got tons of bar noise, what I would call. Some places you go in, they're super quiet, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or all you hear is music, you know what I mean? And it kind of takes over, but it's definitely a large venue.
It is.
Let's talk about, obviously the Brewers Travelers Outcast podcast. If you're coming up to Dayton and you're going to do a day trip and you're going to try to squeeze in as many as you can and you want to make sure that Loose Ends is one of them, what are the other spots that are close to here? Within a driving distance if you're going to get a couple in.
Well, within walking distance, you've got Block 27, the original location, which
you can walk to that?
Oh, it's literally catty corner to here.
For real?
Yeah, it's 0.5 miles away according to Google. But that's at 1035 South Main Street. And we're at 890 South Main Street. So.
Okay. One of my favorites up here is Crooked Handle.
Well, that's actually in Springboro, which is probably 5 miles.
I got off on Austin Boulevard. That's what I know. I know when I get off on Austin, that's where I get off when I come up here to visit that one.
Yeah, well, and I love Crooked Handle and their peanut butter porter.
Yeah, it's one
here
of my
also, well, in Centerville alone, we've got 3 other breweries. We've got Block 27 that we mentioned. We've got Heavier Than Air, which I absolutely love that place. One family owned.
1.2 miles away.
1.2 miles away. It's 2 brothers, and one of those brothers, 2 sons. So it's 2 sets of brothers that are the owners of that place,
which
is
cool.
A very cool thing.
Family owned. That's similar to here too.
Yep. Father and son here, absolutely. And then the other brewery that's in Centerville is Sojourners.
And see, I never even heard of that until you wrote that down.
Well, they call it a brew distillery. They're doing distilled liquor, or I believe vodka and bourbon or whatever, and as well as beer. I believe they have ciders and stuff.
Okay.
It's a pretty good place. And the other place that's in the same area, which is also down in Springboro, is the New York Wing. And that's the barrel room and the smokery, which, if you haven't been, it's absolutely fantastic. It's like a $5 million facility. It's gorgeous.
Really?
Yes, it's unbelievable. It's a
haven't been there
distribution
yet.
center, a restaurant, a brewery. But one of the cool things about that place is that they have the ability, because they have a smaller system, to do a lot of experimental and small batch beers that you're not going to get at Work Wing downtown.
Okay.
So, and then that's
cool.
also where they do the barrel.
And usually we only go about 5 miles away from where we are, but that one's about 5.7. I don't know. That's a quick drive. If you're, probably a 10-minute drive from here.
If you're going to go to Crooked Handle, you might as well, because they're real close to. They're within a mile of it.
Yeah, it's a quick trip.
Yeah.
It's a quick trip, obviously. It's only 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You could get to fucking Atlanta here in 10 minutes, according to this guy.
Absolutely.
Everything to him is 10 minutes.
Everything.
It doesn't matter if
Everything.
you're going from here to Toledo. It's 10 minutes
So,
away.
but also Centerville, there's other things to do in this little area.
Well, obviously, one of our Brews travelers is here with us. She decided to opt out on recording tonight. We don't really have her nickname picked out yet, but her favorite spot is right up the street. It's the O'Leary's Pub and Grub, right?
Yeah.
Pub and Grub. That's like a half a mile away. And then
The
what
lovely
else?
Michelle Brown had joined us.
You don't give real names on this podcast. It's either Flo the Salty
Flo
Bitch
the salty bitch.
or the Hallow
The Hallow
Queen.
Queen. Right.
Either one.
Another place that's close to here is Sugar Creek Reserve, which is one of my favorite places to go hiking. It's got a lot of trails. You can get your dog. I don't know if legally, but
I've
you can
never
definitely
been
let
up
your. There's people that let their dogs off the leash. It's a great place. Really nice.
And then Salty, Flo the Salty told us about the new Miami Valley Sand, which is an indoor-outdoor sand volleyball facility. She said it's gigantic. So, if you're listening and you're coming up for that, like our tournament or something, and you need a brewery close to you, this would be the spot to go. It's only it's about 6.3 miles away. So there is a lot of stuff like really close here. You know what I mean? Even downtown Dayton is what did we say it was 20 minutes
from here?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you're visiting Dayton and you want to check out some of the Dayton breweries up there, and you want to head out a little bit, would you say it's like the southernmost neighborhood of the Dayton, greater Dayton?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, Springboro might actually be further south, but on 48, this is the furthest south. I mean, you literally go a mile down the road, and you're out in the country.
Right.
It's like a fine line too. It's just quick.
And we're almost done with this part of the podcast, talking about everything around here, but we have to mention the kitchen in here, man.
We absolutely do have to mention the kitchen.
Because I've been thinking about the damn wings since the first time I came here. I'm not kidding you. They're some of the best wings
Dude,
I've
I've
ever
been thinking
had.
about that grilled cheese since I walked in the door.
I know.
Right.
Just the fact that you just said that about their wings says it speaks volumes, because you're a wing guy.
I do like
love
wings.
and like that's fantastic.
I mean, it's a legit kitchen in here. You know what I mean? So if you're looking for a night out, like a date night or something like that, this is perfect. I mean, you're going to get high quality food.
And you're going to get some good beers to go along with it, too.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the first time we were here, kept talking about the crab rangoon and how good it is, and oh my gosh, you got to try the crab rangoon. And I was full, and I really was not planning on getting food. But after hearing this over and over and over, I finally had to break down, because crab rangoon is one of my big things.
I had
and
the
it
crab
was,
rangoon.
It was the best crab rangoon I've ever had.
Dynamite.
It was absolutely fantastic.
Hell yeah.
So,
But yeah, it's a cool spot, man. I mean, I was impressed first time I walked in here. I still am. I think it's awesome. It's wide open. It's giant. I don't think they have to fear COVID much, because they've got plenty of seating inside. Where you see some of these smaller breweries where they're, they got to put up tents outside with heaters and stuff. That's not a worry here, because you got plenty of space.
Well, if you notice, like when you come in the front door, they have the, I guess that's like the little...
The digital temperature.
The
yeah.
the digital temperature.
that's one of the things I noticed when we first came here, is that this place was one of the best at paying attention to what really needs to be paid attention to when it comes to COVID.
Right.
The spacing and that computerized system that basically, sends my picture off into the inner world. Who knows what happens? But
and if your
but it makes
if your temperature is above the normal, then out you go.
Yeah.
To do like alarms start going off and shit.
No.
Red lights, all the lights turn red
COVID,
with a
he's COVID.
spotlight on them.
So they do have some event kind of things that go on here to a certain extent. They have like yoga on Saturday mornings at 9:30.
Yep.
And nothing like having a beer and doing some yoga.
Yeah.
But we'll probably end up giving a review of this later, but we're here on a Tuesday night and it's Toasty Tuesday. And they have grilled cheese and soup combinations for $10. And
I guarantee you they're banging too.
well,
I
I
guarantee
think
it.
the worst thing about this situation is I can't decide which one because they all sound so good.
I can. I found mine right
can.
away. Did you?
And then I guess on Wednesdays, if you wear your loose ends gear in here, when you come in, you get a buy one, you get your second appetizer for half off. So
That's perfect.
sounds
Awesome.
like we need to buy a loose ends.
We got to get some swag then while we're here.
Yeah, right. Come back tomorrow.
Right.
All right,
Be up
let's,
every
Tomorrow
Wednesday.
is officially when the new beer comes out.
Yeah.
Basic is. So we'll get to that in a
yeah. We'll
minute.
talk to that in a minute. Let's take a break here, and we'll be back, and we'll be talking to John, the owner. All right, we're back. Back. So we got John Luce, who is the owner and head brewer, right?
Yep.
For Loose Ends, obviously, and as we always do with every podcast, we're going to start off with some rapid fire questions to get you guys some information on this brewery as quickly as possible. So you can just answer these as they come.
Okay.
And I mean, they're not going to be hard questions or anything like that.
I'm just a little nervous.
Are you ready for this?
Oh yeah, okay.
I'd be nervous.
Okay. Do you guys sell anything other than beer? Any other liquor or wine or anything?
Yep, we do. We have all craft cocktails. We have a full wine list, and we actually have kombucha on tap as well.
Ooh.
Yeah, so if
You
you're
make it?
we don't make it. We source it
So I
from.
can't ask the question. We'll tell you that story later. How many taps do you have?
20.
20.
Yep.
And they're all full all the time.
Yeah, I mean they're all well. We have one sour tap that we get sour beers from other breweries. We just don't have one on right now, and that's
Gotcha.
just a dedicated sour tap.
Gotcha. Okay.
So are you planning on, just quickly, are you planning on doing sours or
Uh,
are you
that-
just gonna do that as a guest then?
I would like to do sours. It'll just be a little down the road.
Well, I understand
Right.
there's investment because it's a whole dedicated
Well, that's the
thing.
thing. Like, I usually like dark beers and lagers or pilsners.
Becoming a sour guy.
And I have stepped out of my wheelhouse to drink sours.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when they make me pucker, I'm like, okay.
Okay.
But how big is your system?
It's a 5-barrel system. We've got 3 5-barrel fermenters, 2 10-barrel fermenters, and 2 10-barrel brights.
Okay. And you've already been through, you say 3 rounds of the flagships?
Yeah, so it's crazy.
Yeah, you guys are rolling, man.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah, our top 3 beers, I've gone through 3 batches already.
That's amazing. Are you kid and or pet friendly?
We are kid friendly. We want to be pet friendly, but the Montgomery County Health Department doesn't allow us to have animals in here.
Unless it's a service animal.
Unless it's a service animal. When we build our patio, we will be allowed to have dogs and animals out on the patio.
Do you have guest taps, which you kind of already answered part of
Yeah,
this at least?
we haven't had one in a little while, but we do plan to have guest taps, especially on beers that like styles that we don't make. So sours in particular. We're not going to make a porter because our buddies at Crooked Handle make the best porter around. So we'll just get it from them.
Right.
So why try
Right.
to compete when we can just have it from them?
Throw that peanut butter porter
They're
on there,
peanut
man.
butter porter. Yeah,
Oh,
it's so good.
So amazing.
It's so good.
Do you have food options?
Food, yeah, we have.
We
a
kinda
crazy-
discussed that a little
like,
bit,
Our food menu is not like anything you'll see at any other brewery. I don't think.
That's true.
It's not bar food.
Right.
Yeah, we've got burgers. Yeah, we've got chicken wings, but it's just a little bit better than what you're probably expecting.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think you almost answered this one. Do you have outdoor seating?
Currently, we don't. In the spring, we plan on adding a patio out on our front
Okay.
porch. We've already
Nice.
talked to the city. We're working with them to kind of figure out, like, we're tearing out green space, so we have to add new green space and try to figure out where that's going to be.
Okay,
So,
nice.
All right, so we really haven't mentioned this yet, but this place kind of has like a electricity kind of theme to it, and so I wanted to ask you. I know you're really into electricity, and so do you prefer AC, DC, or AC/DC?
Well, I always did love playing Thunderstruck in college, but I think I'd have to go ahead and say, even begrudgingly against Topsy, the elephant, if anybody knows who that is, I will say DC as well.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Okay. Browns or Bengals?
Ohio State.
Oh, well, I'm with you on that. All
I'm
right.
not much of an NFL fan, but I went to Ohio State, and that's about the only football that I follow. If I had to choose, I guess the Bengals. I'm a
Nice.
Because I
masochist.
notice a lot of people in the
That's-
Dayton area are Browns
Yeah.
fans.
Well, you
I
can't.
don't know. I mean,
Do you distribute, or where else are your beers available at this point?
Beers are only available in the tap room at the moment. We're still trying to keep up with, just our production in here.
Yeah.
When we kind of settle in, we'll probably do limited self-distribution just to a couple places around town, and then
Sure.
any beer that leaves the doors either in a growler or crowler.
Nice.
Which I was going to ask you that question because I know that I came here at one time and tried to get some to-go beer, and you
Yep.
guys weren't doing to-go beer. Are you now doing that?
We are doing it. Yep, we're doing growlers and crowlers. When the fear of the next shutdown from our governor thought made me, rapidly buy a can seamer and
Right.
get some cans and growlers going.
Yeah, it's a wise move.
It's
Yeah.
not going to hurt.
No.
Even if they don't lock us down,
Well,
that's going
it-
to help.
Oh yeah.
When I stopped in at one point, I was on my way up to my friend Dan's house up in Dayton, and stopped in to get just a crowler just to bring up there. And basically, you just weren't producing enough beer to
Yeah,
to
I was
sell it
still
at that
trying to
point.
get our bartenders up to speed.
Don't say it like
on-
that. They weren't. Not that they weren't producing enough beer.
They were selling
it
so
too
much
fast.
beer, right? That they couldn't. They just didn't make sense for them to be selling.
A lot of
out
it
the door.
has to do with training and my, idiosyncrasies on how I want it done. So they, like our bartenders, do great. They manage my personality very well because I'm very, very specific on how I want things done, and I didn't want to introduce that whole realm of things for them until we got everything else right.
That makes sense.
yeah, that's
Smart.
great.
You're
Do you have live entertainment and or events? Now I realize we're in COVID, so let's say, or are you planning to?
Live music, no. It's just not acoustically fit for it in here. I mean, it is kind of loud. We're at like probably 40% in here, and you can kind of get that, like you were saying, pub noise, which I don't think it's ever really that bad. Some people do say it does get a little noisy on a Friday or Saturday evening. We have plans to get like sound baffling and everything like that, but you'd be surprised how expensive wood and styrofoam wrapped in some carpet is. So,
Yes.
when did you guys open?
October 3rd, 2020.
Yeah, so you're brand new.
Yeah.
The fact, okay, so we're in mid-December right now when we're recording this, because this might not drop till January or February. So the fact that they've gone through 3 rounds of 2 or 3 of the flagships is amazing on this big of a
Right,
system.
within
That's
2
awesome.
months.
In a town that has 3 other breweries.
Yeah, one that's
Like-
you can walk to.
Well,
You know what I mean?
yeah, that's in a specific suburb that has 3 other breweries. I mean,
Right.
Dayton alone has, I don't even know how many, but
Right.
they've got a great beer scene.
Do you have a private or event space?
We don't have any event space currently. We've had 2 private events, so where we'll shut down. We had 2 private parties of like 100 people that wanted to come in, and so we just shut down for the day. We usually do those on Mondays or Tuesdays, and if you're interested in that kind of stuff, just send us an email at info@loosendsbrewing.com.
Nice.
What is your personal favorite style of beer?
Ooh, that's mean.
I know it is.
That's not even a curveball question.
Probably it changes so much, but I really like Oud Brewing. If you guys have ever heard of Oud Brewing, it's like a Flemish sour that's it's like a brown ale, but a Flemish sour.
So
it's,
you've got me
it's
very
real,
curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you don't find them. They're very, very hard to find. And
I don't
had
think
one.
I've ever had one.
Can you make one?
Ooh, I don't know. I haven't even tried. I haven't even looked into making that
sounds
recipe.
interesting.
So there's not one available at the Centerville liquor beer.
You'd be hard
out-
pressed. I've never
Okay.
found one. I've only seen the only one I had was at GABF. Or it was at GABF 2019 during their like beer and food pairing private event.
Okay.
And there was a brewery out of Wisconsin that made one, and they paired it with this like salmon dish, this like filleted salmon. It was
banging.
really good. Yeah.
That was going to be my next follow-up. I was going to say, do you like it because you like to drink it, or you like to brew it? So you haven't brewed it.
I've never
yet, so-
brewed it.
So
Yeah,
you just
I'd like to
drink
drink it because it's a real like if you get like a non-kettled sour version of it where it's like actually aged in a barrel over 6 to 18 months or something,
Yeah.
you get really dynamic sour flavors instead of just like lactic acid. So
Sure.
it's like traditionally made. It's a great beer.
Awesome.
Soft sourness.
Bobby, do you got another one, or is that it?
Yeah. How many parking spaces do you have? I know there's adjoining other businesses next door. What does your parking
Yes.
space
So.
It's massive.
It's a
You
large
got
parking
plenty.
lot. I think
Plenty.
we're at 143 if I remember correctly because I had to go through that whole thing with the city. So
Yeah.
we've got a side parking lot that's got about 70, and then
really?
just the part that's out in front of us, that's directly in front of us, is another like 70 or so.
So
and we
just-
share it with AutoZone.
Nobody's parking down the street and having to walk.
Right.
They're right here.
They're right. You're right.
I'll add to that and say that if you pull up and see a bunch of cars here, don't freak out because there's also a very, very popular Mexican restaurant like 3 doors down that, like, when I pulled in, I was like, whoa, this place is packed.
Hell yeah.
It wasn't near as packed as, there
And
was
today's their
good-
Taco Tuesday,
Oh,
so they're in there doing dollar tacos, and everybody's coming in. It's like hard to gauge who's busy when.
Well, we're doing grilled cheese and soups.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're going
it's
for
the
Toasted
perfect like
Tuesdays.
wintertime meal.
Okay,
It's great.
so you got through the rapid fire, man. Congratulations.
That wasn't as bad as I thought.
That's
it
a
was
ton
gonna
of
be.
information for people, though. So,
Oh yeah.
Oh, there was one question I did want to ask you. With the COVID stuff going on right now, I know a lot of breweries are not doing flights, like down, in Cincinnati where we're from. Do you guys do flights?
Yep, we do flights. Yeah, normally it's like a 5 flights or 5 beers per flight, but we have a lot of beers on tap, so you're
Right.
more than welcome to do as many glasses or tasters as you want. They're just $2 a piece.
Okay.
and we are lined up here.
I couldn't stop at 5.
Yeah,
It
because
was-
some of the breweries,
I'm at
down
8 right now.
south in Cincinnati, they either do flights or they don't.
Yeah.
Where they did before, but
I
then when
love
COVID came,
I love that they're in glasses too, rather than plastic.
then
Oh,
like a plastic.
This
That's
again is probably like
sacrilegious.
my particular fastidiousness coming out, but I will never serve my beer in plastic.
I love that. I love that so much. That's one of my big pet peeves, And I get it. People are going through stuff with COVID and stuff, and sometimes it's a staffing issue, and there's reasons, and I get it. But I don't want to go in and spend $6 or $7 on a pint and drink it out of a plastic cup.
Right.
It just doesn't work for me.
Yeah. We good?
Yeah.
All right.
Just to let you guys know, our kitchen does close at 9, which
Oh.
is like 20 minutes from now. So
Okay.
Okay, so let's finish this section up. We
Yeah.
need to hear the story behind the brewery. So the name, like how you got started, like how you name your beer, stuff like. Just tell us the story of Loose Ends.
Yes, so I brewed my first beer. Like I told you guys at the beginning, I talk a lot, so I apologize in advance. So
Have at it, brother. As long as we can get our grilled cheese.
yeah, oh yeah.
You've got
I'll
17
make sure-
minutes.
Well, this story's 18 minutes long, so I'll
crap.
try to take some short
Where's
cuts.
our way?
But so I brewed my first batch of beer in 2011, right after I graduated college from Ohio State with some buddies during an Ohio State football game, and just fell in love with the process and the science behind it and everything, because I'm an engineer by trade, and just ended up taking a hobby, one like step further and further every time I brewed, and took a little bit of a hiatus, maybe a year or two into it. Then I moved to Knoxville, and then I got really into it. Rebuilt my home brewing equipment, made it I controlled it with like a PLC. For people that don't know, that's a programmable logic controller. So it's a little computer that you can basically control temperatures real accurately, turn pumps off and on, open valves, close valves, and monitor pressures, levels, and all that kind of stuff.
That surprises me coming from an engineer.
I know, I can't believe that.
Right, it doesn't add up.
So I built like a little system like that. Then from there, I just was brewing like crazy, giving beer away, trying to dial in recipes. And in 2018, I went back to school for brewing science and engineering at the American Brewers Guild. Right before I did that, I started writing the business plan. So that was November 13th, 2016. I started writing our business plan with my dad, and that took us about a full year to write the business plan to get it.
Were you in Knoxville still?
Yeah, I was in Knoxville still.
Did you know that plan was going to come to fruition here?
Nope. No, the initial plan was Knoxville. I love Knoxville. It's a great city.
It's a great town, yeah.
People down there are just wonderful. Their beer scene was blowing up at that point. When I first moved to Knoxville in 2013, it was 5 breweries just in Knoxville proper. Now I think they're over 40. And it's crazy.
Wow, and Knoxville's
We
not
got to take
really
a
that
Brews
big
Traveler
and
trip.
Knoxville's not really that big of a.
It's no bigger than Dayton as far as like the downtown area goes.
Yeah.
You can walk a loop around Knoxville in 15 minutes. But it's real spread out. It's real wide. It's similar to Dayton, but
More suburb than city.
Yeah. But it's great, and it's a big college town. That's where the University of Tennessee is and everything like that. So it's a very young city as well.
Yeah.
And they support the hell out of their beer.
Nice.
It's crazy. But so it was initially down there, but what ended up happening was Mom and Dad were coming down like every weekend or every other weekend to help me look at property or do this or that, and they kept sending me stuff up here, and I started looking at property up here, and it made more sense to come back home just with the support group I had, my family, and the community. This is where I grew up. I went to high school. My parents live where I grew up, 2 miles down the road.
Nice.
Centerville. Went to Centerville High School.
Smart parents. They had you hooked. They're like, let's get him back. Let's send him to.
They didn't want to move because they didn't want to move away from their grandkids. So they're like, we'll bring him back. He's easy to convince. So then from there it was graduating American Brewers Guild with Steve Parks at Drop-In Brewery in Vermont. Met some great people there. Still talk to them pretty much every day. And then it was really trying to nail down the location for this. It took us about 8 months to find this location between here, Springboro, and Bellbrook. Whether it be zoning issues or not being able to come to terms, partners, whatnot. And then it was, once we found the place, we were in, talks with one bank, and this is going to sound weird, but they dragged us along for about 6 months and said everything was good, we're approved for our SBA loan. And then out of nowhere one day they said, we actually don't want to be in the brewing industry anymore. So I was like, okay. So pulled the rug right out from under us. We had to start over with the financing.
Because this industry is doing so horribly.
Right? I know. And so then from there, so that was like a 6-month delay. And at that point in time, had things gone that way, our opening date was going to be March 13th, 2020. And if anybody remembers that day, it was very, very, very traumatic because I think it was the week after we ended up having to shut down for COVID. So we were fortunate in the fact that 6-month delay actually pushed us out for until October 2020. So it worked out perfectly. We got in with a good bank that really supports small business, and then our general contractor, they had a good relationship with our bank as well, made things smooth.
Had you grown up 2 miles from here, had you ever been in this building as a different business?
I'd been in here one other time when it was a CrossFit gym. So it was
no
a
kidding.
CrossFit gym. Before that, it was like a floor and tile shop. And I know that because I tore up all the floor and tile.
No shit. Yeah, no kidding.
So it was like layer of tile, layer of carpet, layer of tile, layer of carpet.
So you're writing the business plan. Was loose ends already named? Like you knew what it was going to be or the theme?
That was one of the things where it just took forever to come up with a name. I mean, it was years. I was coming up with names like as I would see something, but everything seemed so gimmicky that I was coming up with, and I didn't like it.
What was the worst name you came up with?
Oh. I can't remember.
I'm glad.
I can't. I have a spreadsheet somewhere on the wall, but we'll burn those. So, but loose ends really was just a way for me to incorporate our last name. Our last name's Loose. We wanted to have something, something that just had our name in it.
Yeah.
And there's not too many Looses around, so it was kind of difficult to come up with something, but. Then if you notice, like a lot of our beer names, like I said before, I was an engineer, electrical engineer by trade. So our logo is a diode, the electrical symbol for a diode. So that's just kind of pay homage to that as my engineering background. Yeah. And then all of our beer names are nerdy stuff. So it's like power loss, Faraday, like Faraday's cage,
megawatts,
mega amps, kilo ohms.
Yeah, what is an eddy current?
Eddy current. I mean, they're little currents within a ferrous metal. So they're just little tiny currents that just little loops.
Are you worried you're ever going to run out of names?
No, you should see my spreadsheet. I think it's like 200 long. Well, and what's beautiful is like I can go look up more scientists. Right? Somebody take.
And what else is beautiful about that is that nowadays it's getting really difficult to name a beer.
Yeah.
And you found a way to completely get around that because you're just taking something like a specific concept.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just make a suggestion. If you're ever at a loss or your spreadsheet's running thin, we do have Brews Travelers type names that we could throw out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe do a sponsored beer. That'd be awesome.
Heck yeah.
We'll come up and we'll get the grains out for you. You know what I mean?
Perfect.
Do the heavy lifting.
Right.
Yeah. Can you wash my kegs? That's the least favorite job.
No keg washers, man?
Yeah. Not yet. It should be here this week.
Oh, nice. Okay, then we'll do it. That's awesome, man. So you got the electrical background into the brewery. I mean, what's it like, man? You put the plan together that long ago at another place, and now you're walking in here 2.1 miles away from where you grew up. I mean, you're sticking your chest out when you're walking through the door, aren't you? I would.
No, it's usually hanging my head down because I'm so tired. I'm sitting here like, oh man.
That's part of the hustle, man.
Oh yeah, I love it. There's nothing in this world I'd rather do. Get here at like 5, leave at 10.
You don't do the electrical engineering on this. Is full time, right?
This is full time. Yeah.
That's a hustler's dream, man.
Yeah, I love it. It's great.
It's crazy. I like it.
And you're successful because you have very good beer and you have fantastic food.
Thank you.
You have a great environment, so it makes sense. It's great that the community is coming out and supporting you.
Yeah, especially during all this. I know people are itching to get out and go back to the way things used to be, but it's just difficult to make that justification with everything going on right now. And those people that do take the risk, we try to create a safe environment for everybody and truly support. And truly thank you for your support. It's great to see people coming out.
We got to order our soup, so we got to wrap this section up. But I wanted to personally say thank you just for reaching out to us about this.
You let us know. Wonderful.
You let us know about the Basicist, which we have to talk about really quickly. We're already 22 minutes in. This is the longest section ever, but it's awesome. I like everything we're talking about. So tell us. This is a new beer. It hasn't even been tapped yet. They tapped it for us, and it's an amazing coffee stout. How did you name this? You named this after someone you knew. First time I came in here, I introduced myself. It was one of the very first opening nights. I let you know about the Vets and Brews fundraiser that I do. You donated to it. Those beers have already been given out.
Great.
So, and I think that was part of the reason you reached out to me about this beer specifically. So, tell us the story behind the Basicist.
Yeah. So I always get like choked up when I tell this story. So I apologize in advance.
It's all good, man. I might get choked up with you. I'm big, but I'm a soft motherfucker.
Okay, we're allowed to cuss. Thank God.
Oh yeah.
Anything goes on
our podcast.
We'd be in trouble if we couldn't.
Yeah, so it's named after our friend Becky Sefcik, who passed away in 2015. She was a Navy vet, did a tour in Iraq. I met her through a CrossFit gym here at Centerville CrossFit, and she's just one of those very infectious people. Never had a bad day in her life. Very, very positive, very encouraging. It was really interesting to see, like, all those like stoic books or quotes and things that you read, and she like truly embodied that. It was really, really strange to actually meet someone like that. I'd never met anybody in the world like that before, and she had such a, for the brief time that we knew each other, we only knew each other for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, and the brief time that we knew each other, she had just such a positive influence on me.
Nice.
And just one reason why I wanted to open this place was to kind of give back and just pay, some respects and say, I didn't get here alone. I didn't become the person I am alone.
Sure.
It's people like that in my life that really, really, really helped develop me as a person.
Sure.
And so this is kind of my way of giving back.
An influence on your life, honestly.
Yeah, big, big influence. So it's amazing how people can have that kind of effect on you. So,
absolutely.
But yeah, it was terrible to have her go, but hopefully this does a good justice for her.
So tell why the Basicist, why it's a coffee stout.
Yeah, so her big thing was always, running to Starbucks and getting a coffee, and in the wintertime she'd always post, a picture of her drinking her Starbucks coffee and her Uggs and her yoga pants or something, just being, a basic white girl or something, and so she came up with her own hashtag called the Basicist. And
nice.
So she that was kind of her little thing that she always did on Facebook and Instagram.
Well,
so
that's another
awesome.
beautiful thing about this beer in the homage is that will also revive that hashtag.
Yeah,
Sure.
that was kind of, that's a
When
that's a good
people
point.
start searching it, they'll see pictures of her.
Yeah.
Plus, I love that you didn't go with Starbucks, which would probably be impossible. You went with a local brewing company, the Boston Stoker Coffee, which is from around here. So that's awesome, man. You're giving back, and everybody's contributing. It's awesome.
Yeah, trying to support local and everything like that.
Yeah.
Which I had no idea Boston Stoker was a local Dayton company, but they are.
That's awesome.
A couple of our servers work there. For whatever reason, maybe it's because it got Boston in the name. I thought it was this huge company that is all across the world or something, but no, it's a little Dayton coffee roaster, and then they've
And I'm not even saying this because of the story. That's my favorite beer that I've had. And I'm a coffee stout guy, so
Me too.
I say to end this, I say we raise our glasses to Becky. Thank you for your service and being such an influence. All right.
And what a great beer.
Yeah, dude. All right. Let's get some food. Thanks, Mark. All right, let's talk about our favorite thing, guys.
Oh.
Beer.
Oh, wait, that's not my favorite thing.
It's not?
Oh, absolutely it is.
I'm about to say, you're tripping, dude. So, the first thing I want to say is we came up here on opening weekend, and compared to now, they've grown leaps and bounds.
Yes.
Leaps and
They've
bounds.
upped their game, dude.
And I can't believe how many other new beers they have since then, too.
Yeah,
It's
there's
beautiful.
so many styles. I've even had a style that I've never had before, or if I have, I don't remember it.
Yeah.
But I remember this one. You know what I mean? So, let's go through them real quick. Mark, do you have any? Well, let's talk about their flagships first. So, the flagships for them, there's 3 of them on here. There's the Mega Amps, which is a West Coast IPA. It's a 9%. Then they have Ohms, which is a New England IPA, that's 6.5, and Pro Cop, which is a cream ale, that comes in at 4.8. So that's their 3 that they have on here. And those are the 3 he says he's gone through three rounds of them already in 2 months. You know what I'm saying? On this system, that's amazing. So what do you got? Do you got any MVBs?
Well,
on here?
I didn't have the cream ale today. I had it the last time we came here, and when I came here, it was a 4.25, and that was, that was first batch. And for it to be a 4.25 first batch is incredible.
Yeah, I had 4.0 on that one, which is solid. I'd get it again.
The Mega Amps, I had that tonight, and that is just spectacular. I kept, luckily I had a pencil and not a pen, because I kept going back and racing and raising the ratings as every drink I took. It was so beautiful.
Nice.
I mean,
So two
and
already?
I'm not an IPA guy, and I loved it.
Yeah. Any others?
I'm a huge fan of the Megawatts Imperial Oatmeal Stout. Now, sometimes Imperials can be a bit much for me.
Megawatts. Okay.
Megawatts, which
That's at 8%.
at 8%, and that was really well balanced. Just really almost scary how easy drinking it was for an 8%.
Does not taste like an 8% at all. Me and Bobby were just talking about that. Yeah.
It's mild for an 8%.
So you got 3 out of those. How many did you get? You had like 8, right?
I had 7 here tonight, but I've had all of them that are
So
on
far.
tap right now
Okay.
at one time or another. So,
Right.
I mean, their beers are also solid. The brown ale is really nice,
Boom.
and it's hard
Yeah.
to find a good brown ale.
It is.
But I mean,
That's a power loss. That's a power loss.
my favorite was the Basicest, which is the beer that is coming out tomorrow. But by the time this podcast
might be
comes
out.
hopefully they won't be. But it's their coffee stout. It was absolutely through the roof.
Yeah, and they're gonna have to bring that back.
I'm sure they will.
I'm sure they will
Yeah.
too. What do you got, Bobby, for your MVBs?
My MVBs was the Megawatts.
Okay, same with, and that's the one that's
Yep.
8%. It's a Imperial Oatmeal Stout, but dude, it tastes like you're drinking a 4 or 5%er.
Yeah.
Like you drink too many of those, you're in trouble.
Right,
You better call
yeah,
Uber.
they're gonna be
Again,
soon double.
Uber, if you're listening to this, we would love for you to sponsor the Brewers Travelers Outcast podcast.
Right, yeah,
at some
right,
point.
yeah. Drink responsibly and get home safely.
Yeah, especially if you're traveling.
That's our main goal.
What's your other ones, man?
My other one was Eddie Current.
Okay, which is a dark mild.
3.4%, pretty mild.
Yeah, pretty. I mean, you could drink those all
You
damn
drink
day.
them all day.
Yeah.
I gave that a 4 on a rating.
Nice.
Yeah, I gave that one a 4.5 actually. That was a
And
gave it a
the
4.
other one was the Basicest Coffee Stout, which isn't released, and that was my favorite beer tonight.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you had 3
Hands
as well.
down, I had 3 as well.
Okay, I'm gonna go ham on this because I had 5 MVBs.
wow.
Yeah. So the first one was Ohms, which is the New England IPA. It comes in at 6.5. I gave that a 4.25. That thing was super tasty. I love New England IPAs, and it was right on point, man. I could drink those all day. Power Loss, which is the American Brown. Me and you both love browns. When we find a good one, we really latch on to them. And
It's hard to find a good brown.
It is. It's really hard. Like lots of browns they don't taste right, or they're like too bitter or something like that.
Or people are adding too many flavors to it, not just having just a simple straight brown ale.
Yeah, like a true to style. This one's excellent. The other one is the Faraday, which is the Weizenbach. That's the one I don't think I've ever had one of those before. You know what I mean? So I was kind of curious to see what it tasted like, but it definitely had the Hefeweizen notes in there, like the banana flavor and stuff like that. Super smooth, man. Like I could drink those all day long, and that's a 7%er. The other one was Rankin, I guess. It's a German. Ranking, right. It's a German style alt beer, comes in at 5.2%. I gave it a 4.25. Again, man, I was really blown away. Like, I think the last time I probably would have only had 2 out of the maybe 5 we tried, which is still not a bad percentage.
Right.
But and especially on opening weekend. But the last one was the Basicest. You can't fuck with this beer. I'm telling you, man. If you're a coffee stout person, and this one was very coffee forward. You know what I mean? Like it smelled like you were sniffing
You could definitely tell that it was a cold brew coffee beer.
Oh yeah, for
There
sure.
was definitely a special taste.
I mean,
to
he
it.
told us on the next batch he would probably pull back on the coffee some, but I would be totally cool if he didn't. You know what I mean?
Right,
if he made
I
it
know.
exactly like
Yeah.
this, I'll try it again. I don't care. Like if I come here, I'm trying all 5 of those. Like I'm more than a flight in. I'll try a flight with the other 4, but then I'm getting a pint of the Basicest.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
that's Boston Stoker Coffee. Again, that's a local place in Dayton. It's a coffee stout. It's a 6.5%, and I gave that was my highest ranking beer on my list tonight. I gave it a 4.5.
I'd like to make an honorable mention because I don't think either one of us had it this time, but We had it last time, and that's the Henry, the Hefeweizen.
Yeah.
And that's another very true, on point, true to
That's
style.
the first
and
time I've had it.
exactly what it's supposed to be, and it was
The
really good.
Hefeweizen, right? Yeah, they know what they're doing here, man. I mean, honestly, I think I'm obviously we're from the Natty. We don't travel up to Dayton that much. You guys do a lot more than me, but I'm not too familiar with the Dayton scene. But I have to think already within the first 2-3 months that they're open, that they're a powerhouse in this field. You know what I mean? In this city, like if I'm traveling around here, I'm stopping in. You know what I mean? Like I got to.
I'm probably going to offend somebody by saying this, but Dayton doesn't have near the amount of breweries that Cincinnati does, but I'm really starting to believe that Dayton has a stronger beer scene. Like they've got so many high quality breweries up
You
here.
just offended me.
I get it. I understand.
Well, I mean, Cincinnati
All I'm
is a
saying
hell
is
of a lot
that
bigger than Dayton.
that
I'm from the Natty though, man. Go
I
ahead.
know, but I do come up here a lot more, and
Sure.
it's hard to find a bad brewery in Dayton. There's some really good beer in Dayton.
There is.
And I
for
highly
sure.
recommend coming up here and trying Loose Ends as well as a lot of the other ones. Like we
Crooked
said,
Handle, Yellow Springs. There's tons up here to try.
Warp Wing,
Warp Wing
Dayton
is
Brewing
excellent.
Company.
yeah, Southern Ohio Brewing Company.
But this is a powerhouse. Like if you're planning a trip to Dayton, make sure you put Loose Ends on. And I'm telling you this, I don't know what the other food options are for the other breweries around here. If you're planning on eating during your trip, you better fucking order some food here. I just had a goat cheese grilled cheese sandwich that melted my face. And Bobby had one that he was dipping a grilled cheese sandwich in maple syrup.
yes, with Monte
Who does
Cristo.
that?
With Monte
You know?
Cristo with powdered sugar on it. It looked
Not
amazing.
tomato soup, syrup.
Plus, you got this is a truly local. Like you said, the guy grew up 2 miles from here. It's him and his dad. You know, it's their dream. You know, they've named it after their last name, and they're really doing it. Like when I told him, I said, when you walk through here, your chest has to be out. Like,
Yeah.
I would be super proud if this was my place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
Like,
he should be.
I'll be back. So, here we go, guys.
All right, thanks.
Travel
All right.
on, brew
Cheers,
travelers.
travelers.
Support local. Oh shit! I wish I could drink another.